Day 4 then, and it's definitely a sweaty one. In the sun today, it really feels warm. And from today, things are only gonna get hotter every single day. I think it's around 24 degrees tomorrow, Thursday, and now it's saying 30 for Friday. So that's certainly gonna be very warm to be working in. In fact, I might try and get most of my blocks moved today and tomorrow, make as much use as I can of the mornings and the evenings while it's not quite as hot. And today, I've actually been getting on with the footings. I've got the crusher in, you might have seen in my last video. Today, I've been getting it ready for the concrete in. And I've got to say, being out here, yes, it's a bit hot for working, but it's a beautiful day to be outside. The bees, you can just hear them all over the brambles next door. The Euphorbia, myrsinites, the flowers and that are just popping away as I spread the seeds. And the scent of eucalyptus in the air, it really is special. So I'll just quickly show you around now, let you see the progress, and I'll tell you about my plans for today. Quick sneak peek then of the arid bed, just ignore the weeds. You can see I planted these Aeoniums. I like the way that they just hang over that rock, almost like snakes, just reaching up there into the canopy. I've got all kinds of other exotic and drought-tolerant plants. The Hylotelephiums, or sedums as you might know them, they're probably getting a little bit too big this year. But the plant they're in front of, the Jubea chilensis Chile wine palm, it'll love this heat. These are the temperatures that it really needs to get growing, and grow it certainly will. As well as the weeds that have found their way into the boots there. And here we've got a tree that's also really enjoying the temperatures. This is a Mexican weeping pine, Pinus patula. And when we moved here back in 2020, coming up to 2 years now, that was only a very small plant in around a 10-litre pot, I think. So already now it's a good few feet taller than me. It's growing really well. This is Euphorbia myrsinites. I will probably chop it back because you can see the old growth gets a bit brown. But you can probably hear today all these seeds just cracking in the background. I actually see, looking down here, some of the seeds have found their way onto the floor. So everything's growing nicely. How about the fire pit? Well, I'll quickly show you. So this video is taken just after midday, early afternoon, and you can see it looks a little bit amateurish, but the main thing I was doing this morning is getting my posts in. So these pegs that are spaced around, what they're for is to get a level for the concrete. Because like I said in my last video, I had a feeling that this side and the side over there weren't entirely level. And what I've done is basically just hammered in one peg at a time using the trusty sledgehammer. I probably could have used a smaller one for it, but you know, it's here, so I'm using it. Hammered one at a time, and then use spirit levels, either the smaller one or this large one here, held it between them, and then tried to keep every single one as level as I can get it. So there's a few where I actually push them in a little bit too far. I think really get a bit enthusiastic, and where the ground's a little bit softer, you think you got an easy win and you push them down. So that's one tip if you're doing this for the first time like me. Really only hammer them in just a couple of times just to get them stable, and then get the level out, because you don't know just how far out things will be from one side to the other. So basically it's all about those pegs this morning, getting them just right. And I know some of them aren't entirely straight, but I do know that the tops of them, they're perfectly level, or as level as I can get anyway. So I've got the height, the finished height of the concrete. Now, this wood, you'll see there, that's just shuttering, just some old pieces of plywood that I had in the garage, and I've used those to basically stop the concrete spilling over. Or in the case of this side here, I'd actually dug out a little bit too much. So what I've done is basically push some of that earth down to there. That'll help prop it up, and also it means now I can get a barrow round, which is quite important for concreting. So I've only really used the shuttering on places where the concrete might spill over. On this side over here, the trench, or the earth wall of a trench, should be enough to hold it in. Another little tip that I found is, where you've got the levels of the posts, you can then see that some of the pieces of rock and slab and bricks down here were a little bit tall. And I think the key thing is, I want an even layer of concrete that's pretty much level sort of depth all the way around. So what I did is basically just had a look at it from this level and picked out any taller piece of stone. Anything pushing up, getting on for the level of those posts over there, I took it out. So this side, where I dug out a little bit too much, I put the rocks in there. So I think the key thing is you don't want the concrete to be too shallow. So on the far side, I had to take some pieces out. So I've got a good couple of inches at least of concrete. And this side here, there's no way that I need to have 6 inches of concrete. It will soon get really expensive with the price of cement and ballast. So I really want a nice consistent level, and hopefully I've done the best I can to achieve that. So that's where things are now. We've got it ready for some concrete. The first step of that is to bring the mixer up. Unfortunately, there was a bit of an issue. The one that I had in the shed wouldn't actually start. So my neighbour Paul's been very kind to let me borrow his, save me a trip over to Speedy Hire. Before that happens, I suppose the next key step is to bring the ballast up. From the other end of the garden, I need to bring it onto that tarpaulin. It's about a 90-metre trip with a ton. I'm already warm, but it needs to be done, so let's get cracking. Short while later then, and I've got a ton of ballast. Well, I think 800 kilo is the contractual minimum, and 6 bags of cement brought up this in the garden. So it's time to treat myself to a Tango Ice Pop. Obviously other brands are available, and the dogs are back outside here. They know what's best. On days like this, you should just be sat around, chilling out, enjoying the sun. So there you can see the ballast. A ton isn't really that much when you see it out like this, and 6 bags of cement. If you can look past the grass, the weeds, the slightly unruly Hylotelephium there, this is the kind of look, the kind of planting that I want to continue around the fire pit area. Slightly more sparse, Mediterranean, that same kind of sandy texture to the surface. I think this kind of style will look fantastic. Full sun, really bold, really architectural. This kind of planting is what's keeping me motivated and cracking on with the block work over the next few days. That's when the real graph's going to come in. Fast forward several hours then, and we've got some concreting done. Well, about half the concrete in. And I've got to say, a hero stepped in to save the day. Paul, our neighbour, not only does he give us amazing vegetables that he grows in and around his polytunnel, not only does he have a cement mixer that I could borrow today that helped get me out of that tricky situation, but he also helped with the concreting as well. So really, he is an absolute top guy. Massive thanks to him, and we'll have to get him something to really thank him for today. And he's also helped me today with the other half. Now, the reason why we had to stop where we did is because the amount of concrete it actually took. I don't have enough left to quite finish that other half. And whilst I think my original sort of estimates were about right, I think the issue is because one side wasn't quite as deep, I probably allowed too much on the other side. It was going to about 3 or 4 inches deep, whereas I'd allowed, in theory, a nice even 2 inches all the way around, which in reality was never going to happen. So I'm going to get another ton. It's not a problem anyway because I will use it. I'm half thinking about actually filling the hollow blocks in, so it'll definitely come in handy for that. Plus there's some more concreting to do, another little garden project that I've not even told you about yet, so that might need some as well, so it's definitely not going to go to waste. Walking past the Jubea then, I hope some of the ambient noise is captured because every bird is singing. It's a fantastic evening to be outside. Maybe not outside cleaning up and doing some watering, but today I'm really pleased because we've made big progress. So as you can see, that's what's left of the ton bag. Still got a couple of cement left and there's some more near the house, so we're good to go for tomorrow. And the ratio that we used was approximately 5 to 1, and that's done on a volume basis. So every 5 shovelfuls of ballast, you get 1 of cement. So nice and basic. It doesn't matter too much if it changes a bit either way, but that's the rough sort of ratio. So heading through, you'll see where we got up to. So that's the side that's yet to be done, still with the amateurish shuttering. But this is the side that we've sorted out. And as you can see, Paul knows what he's doing. He's done a lot of concreting in his time. Really, I'm so grateful for the help. And you can see it's really nice and level. So what we've done is, when I say we, Paul's done most of it. I just did all the donkey work. Paul's floated it, so it's level, very roughly, with all the tops of those pegs. You can just see that one there. So we've got a nice level footing, and that's ready for the block wall to be built. Not right this second because it's still drying, but I'm happy with the overall look of that. And tomorrow we'll be cracking straight on with this. And to be honest with you, considering I got up at 5:20 this morning, I don't feel too bad. I'm ready for another day tomorrow. So if I wake up with the same kind of energy, I'm really looking forward to getting this side sorted out. So technically, if you want to look at it like this, we're a day behind the arbitrary schedule that I set myself. But in reality, I'm happy that I've done this bit here. This bit should be wrapped up in the morning. So you can already get that sort of ambience now. What this place will feel like on those summer evenings. Trees full of birds around. That setting sun just behind the polytunnel over there. And the smell of the eucalyptus today, it really has been fantastic. And I've got to say, I chose these 3 eucalyptus here, not just for the way they look and their growth habit, but also for that scent. And today's been the first really warm day, and that sun has really released the oil. There's been a beautiful scent in the air. And over there, I'll just show you quickly, the Allium Globemaster, probably my favourite allium just for sheer impact. So despite a tricky start and a few challenges along the way, it's been a really productive day and I'm very pleased with where we're at. Tomorrow morning it's another early one and I want to be at the merchant 7:30 bang on to get a bulk bag of ballast picked up, and then the whole cycle repeats itself again. I have to wheelbarrow it up to this part of the garden and then we get another few mixes on and we'll get that other trench filled up. But it'll really feel then like we've actually made a start on the project. Because the wall, I know it's not something that I've done before, but I know how they go up. And I know it's something that once you get used to it, it'll go up very quickly. It'll be really interesting to see that very visual progress. I'm really looking forward to that. And then as soon as I got that sorted, I can then put that soil back over the top, maybe add some horticultural grit, some sharp sand for extra drainage. And then I can finally get some of the plants in the ground. So whether or not that's this week, I don't know, we'll see. My plan is to get that planting prioritised so the plants have got as long as possible to settle in. This isn't a project that's going to get finished anytime soon. I don't want to rush everything, and there's still a fair few bits I need to save up for. But all those practicalities aside, I think really it's all about the journey and it's all about the satisfaction. A busy day's been had then, and there's another one lined up for tomorrow. Thank you very much as always for watching these videos. Thank you to everyone who leaves a comment, people's suggestions. I do really take them on board. I read through every comment and I try to get back to every single one. It really is appreciated, and I like the sense of community. It feels like I'm sharing this project with you. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.